Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unscheduled podcast. I'm your host for today, Javi, and I'm once again joined by two special guests to cover the World Cup. First, I have Zach,
Hey, how's it going?
and then the ever-present Abby.
Woo, belo minutes before 2 Winky Face, and we're here to talk about a yay and an upset. For me personally, at
Yeah,
least.
I love
absolutely.
the fact that Abby's coming in with still the streamer mode and it's literally her stream right now and then just switches it to okay, now it's a podcast.
I mean, yeah, just because, that's the only intro I can think of, honestly. I don't have a podcast intro.
To take a riff on an old saying, this is Abby's stream, and we're just viewers in it. That's how it is.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, no. How are you guys doing today?
I'm pretty good, and I'm. As of the time of this recording, I have such mixed feelings. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
such
I'm kind
mixed
of
feelings.
I'm feeling a bit. I'm feeling a bit conflicted as well. How about you, Abby?
I'm just happy to see a Latin American country again.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
valid,
no,
100%.
absolutely valid. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely say I'm happy it's not an all European final.
Yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Once we talk about the actual games. But first, we're gonna go ahead and talk about our predictions from the previous episode about the semifinals. So for the first semifinal, we had Argentina 2, Croatia 1.
Mhm.
And then for semifinal 2, we had France and Morocco going to penalties, 1-1, and Morocco winning on penalties.
Yeah, I think you guys were who was it last time? It wasn't
I
even
was
that
the
long
one
ago.
who.
Because one of
Yeah,
us
I
put
was.
3-2 and the other one put 1-1.
Yes.
I think that's how it was. But I was ready for Morocco to win. I
Oh
was
yeah.
really hoping for them
Yeah.
to be able to pull off yet another upset
Yeah.
and continue their historic run.
Yeah.
Being the fourth African nation to reach the quarterfinals, and then the first African nation to reach the semifinals. I was hoping to see, I was hoping to see them extend their run.
Yeah.
But
No, I get that.
we'll get to that.
All right, so we'll get to the
Um,
actual scores then.
Yeah, so let's start off then with semifinal 1, which is Argentina versus Croatia. We predicted 2-1,
And the reality,
and it turned out 3-0.
Yeah.
An
I was so happy
absolute.
to see that score,
and
baby.
This was, in my opinion, a masterclass. I would say this was easily between
Oh,
the two
yeah.
games. Argentina had the most dominant performance out of any team in the final
Yeah.
stage. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, Argentina, and more specifically Messi, just gave Croatia the works.
No,
Um,
yeah. No, I mean, the highlight is the third goal. Like that
Mhm.
to me perfectly embodies the game.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the first goal came from an over-the-top through ball to Julian Alvarez, who pokes it past Livakovic, but he gets cleared. He gets clotheslined basically by Livakovic. Um, but Messi puts he doesn't just slot it away. He blasts that into almost the top 90. And that was just even Livakovic, who has had such a good track record with penalties this World Cup. Well, he wasn't going to get to that. And then the second goal came from, I believe, another breakaway. No, yeah, I remember. Julian Alvarez takes the ball from midfield, and takes on 2-3 Croatian defenders and beats Livakovic as well at that time.
Yeah.
And then like you said, Zach, the third goal, Messi rounding Guardiola, really treating him like a kid. Like he uses his body so well. Like I think it's such an underrated aspect about Messi is his physicality, like his ability to actually just stay on the ball, not being able to push easily, despite his size, and just keeping himself near the ball despite all the physical pressure that's put on him. And he slots it coolly to Julian Alvarez for another goal. I mean, this what else can you really say about this match apart from Messi? But we'll try. What did you guys think of this game?
I mean, honestly. Oh no, go ahead, Abby.
No, I was just gonna say I had the unfortunate event of having 2 final exams on yesterday
Oh yes,
when
that's
this match
true.
was happening. So I literally was not able to enjoy it. Thankfully, Zach was texting me the live updates though, so I was very happy to see that.
I mean,
I never got a message.
What do you mean by that? You're taking exams where you're getting the live updates. Zach, what do you mean by that?
Well, no, because like when I
What do
said
you?
taking exams, I mean like
Uh-oh.
thankfully the match wasn't happening when I was taking the
Okay,
exam.
okay.
However, I was studying for that exam because I only have like this. Oh God, it's one of those classes where like exams takes majority of your grade. Like it's 60-40
Right.
exams, homeworks. So like I needed to do good on the exams since it was 20% of my grade.
Oof.
So I was
Yeah.
studying, and I knew if I was watching this game, I would not be studying.
I mean,
So I would
rightfully
just be
so,
getting the live
considering.
updates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, rightfully so, considering how this game went. Like you would have
Exactly.
been on
So
the edge of your seat the entire time.
100%. So I'm very happy I never received the message of Croatia scored.
I
Well,
mean, valid.
I'm not gonna go as far as to say that this is a game worth watching over studying for. It was close. It was close. It was close. But yeah, definitely. I mean, apart from Argentina and their very solid attack, I mean the defense completely snuffed them out. I mean Croatia had so little going for them going forward, and then in the second half when Scaloni put on Martinez as the third center back, I think that's what really just completely shut down Croatia. I think they had a really hard time getting past the wall of, I believe, Molina, Martinez, Otamendi, um, Romero, and then Acuna. I mean, that's such a solid defense in and of itself. But when you have Martinez behind them, who was claiming the crosses before it could even get to their targets, it just became such a heavy task for Croatia to handle, and
Yeah.
they weren't able to really carry anything out.
Yeah, I mean, this was just such a tough game for both sides. Like, it's weird to say this because the score doesn't entirely reflect this, but Croatia had ball most of the game.
Yeah,
And they were, I wouldn't say they were dominating, but they at one point during the game, like they were really like keeping it over Argentina, and like they were not giving them a chance. Like Croatia had some like good attacks. I wouldn't say they had like I wouldn't say they had like the best, but they were doing decent overall. And
12 shots on target from them is nothing to laugh at.
Or not 12 shots. I'm sorry, not on target. 12 shots is nothing.
yeah, no, it did not feel like they had 12 shots on target. I feel like if they had
No,
12
it
shots
wasn't
on
on
target,
target. No.
no, yeah,
But
yeah.
that's also against Croatia. Like they had only 2 shots on target.
Yeah, that sounds more.
Total shots of 12, but 2 on target.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, though, in the same breath, like Argentina having 9 total shots and then 7 on target, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like
to me, yeah, go ahead.
that's just really good and shows how much they were really taking their chances.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think this is definitely a case of like shot volume versus shot quality,
Yeah.
where Argentina put themselves in much better positions to score as opposed to Croatia having to like work with what they had and not being able to break it down Argentina's defense. Because like I said, and like how you alluded to, I think Croatia did a great job of carrying the ball forward, but then breaking down the defense was another task entirely, and they
Yeah.
just weren't able to really do it yesterday. Um, but
Yeah.
on the other hand, Argentina and Messi, connecting with his teammates and putting them into positions to score. I mean, I remember very vividly Messi making these great combinations with Argentina players, and then getting one-on-one with Livakovic, and then Livakovic miraculously saves at the near post. I mean, that to me, I
Yeah.
mean, in other situations you would think that's a goal, but I think that really speaks to the quality of Argentina's,
Right.
ability to create chances for
Right.
themselves.
Yeah. No, and I talked about this beforehand, and to me, this is what separates Messi from a lot of like top tier players and other all. And it really comes down to that third goal that like embodies everything Messi's about. So Messi he did take a shot on target, and he was shut down. Like as great as he is, there's still chances. He can't do everything, and he was shut down. He had 2 defenders on him and the goalie. Completely block his path, and he had no way to get to the far post while he was on the right side. And so but then you have him, and he was run down, and he took his shot, wasn't able to get it. That's kind of expected with the situation presented. Then you have him coming back again with that same exact attack, but this time he passes it to his other player. And I said this during our last recording. he plays with his offense. He plays with his team. He doesn't do it all himself. Unlike other players I've seen who will do it all themselves or think they have to do it all themselves, or no, oh no, this is my time to, shine. No, Messi's like, hey, I have a completely open player and I'll take my opening, passes the ball, boom, goal. Perfect. Nothing else. You really textbook, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Messi's ability to get past players in general, and then to have the because like that's a thing. Like you're talking a lot about, like, I think, like, the decision making players have. Like that's a quality a lot of players don't really have, is the ability to discern what is the best course of action in any given situation. And Messi, I think that's a thing that he just does so well. Is he, like, instantly is able to read the situation. He's like, okay, I've gotten past all these defenders. Now what do I do? And then he can easily see, okay, I have Julian Alvarez behind me. He has a pretty clear path towards goal, and I'm just going to pass it back to him, and he's going to score, and then we're going to get the third goal to really seal the game.
Yeah.
I said it to you, Zach, when we were talking about this game yesterday. I think Argentina picked the best time, start playing their best soccer, to really find their momentum, because it was funny, like, very rarely I'm going to give American commentators the credit they deserve. But oh shoot, I lost my train of thought.
The American commentators, they deserve. Yeah.
No, it's what they were gonna say, but anyways, Argentina, oh, I remember it was about how Argentina had lost to Saudi Arabia, and these performances, especially against the Netherlands and Croatia, have made us completely forget about all of the sort of narratives going around Argentina being sort of like were they overconfident coming into this tournament, due to coming into this tournament 36 games unbeaten. The last time they had lost, I think, was like at the beginning of 2020 or something like that.
Right.
Before they lost to Saudi Arabia, and now they've completely silenced all doubt. They have won every single game since then, and they have left no doubt that they deserve to be in the final for the second time in 8 years.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that. And Argentina, played a great game, and I think, and this is something that I didn't realize until I was looking up some stuff later. This was actually a payback to Croatia too, because during the 2018 World Cup, they lost to Croatia, ironically, or maybe not even ironically, poetically, 3-0, and here they are coming back and beating them 3-0. And I think that's maybe what might have messed Croatia up. Is there are a couple factors I'm going to talk about that might have been why Croatia lost, and that we have Argentina, coming in and cleaning house, honestly, with a 3-0, and it's reflected in their score. I think Croatia went into this game thinking they were playing the Argentina from 4 years ago, and clearly they've shown they're not the Argentina from 4 years ago. They are the Argentina that is 2022. They are here, play their best game they can. And, I think another thing to Argentina's credit is that they've grown up and stopped relying on Messi, which, again, was reflected in this game.
Yeah, no, I definitely see where you're coming from in that aspect. I'm not too sure, because, like, I see what you mean by not relying too much on Messi, but Messi definitely has created most of the opportunities for Argentina's World Cup. I mean, 5 goals and 4 assists is hard to dismiss.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no, but I mean, it's like Argentina now has the plans of recovery of, if Messi's cut off or if Messi can't do what they need him to do, they now have 2-3 other players who are already on the ball, ready to be the backup. So but look 4 years ago, or even look at the last couple World Cups and tournaments they've played, and it's like, just get Messi the ball, and really it reflected against that when they were knocked out during the last World Cup, because when they did good, but even then when they got shut down, it was because they shut down Messi, and Argentina didn't really have the best plays after that. So, and I'm all their credit, they've learned from that.
Yeah, I mean, especially since Messi, he has said that this is potentially his last World Cup, so they're definitely have to see.
I would genuinely be shocked if he comes back for another World Cup at this point.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean,
how old is he again?
What would you say, Abby?
How old is he again?
He's 35.
Okay, yeah, he's getting up there.
I mean,
he's not gonna pull off whoever that football player is.
For all intents
Tom
and
Brady?
purposes. No.
Yeah, I think him.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought we were talking about Alves. I think Denny Alves.
Oh, Danny Alves. I mean, he in my opinion,
I don't know.
he's more of
Whoever's
a
older.
mass. Yeah, Danny Alves is 39, but in soccer he might as well be like 60 years old at that point. Like,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah, but either way, it's like, I mean, one, I would be genuinely be shocked if he came back. I mean,
Mhm.
like he's past his prime. That's not to say he's bad, but he's out of
No.
his physical prime.
No, absolutely, yeah. You know, Messi isn't going to be like he doesn't even do this like he hasn't done that often, but he's not like doing what like Alvarez like what Alvarez did is like very rare, but like Messi used to do it all the time where he would like carry the ball from basically like the edge of the box up until like up until the opposition box and
Right.
score. Like Messi like what Messi does more nowadays is he'll like sort of like drift through midfield in behind, and then once he sees that opportunity arise, he'll like arrive late in the box, or he'll connect with someone in midfield, pass the ball, and then make a deep run into the box and then connect there. Um, but I mean, another thing to consider is that Messi's, his abilities, a lot of it doesn't have to do with his physicality, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
he's a
it's a
smart
lot of it has to
player.
do with his tight control of the ball,
Yeah,
his ability to connect with players, and his recognition of where the spaces are and getting into them.
right.
It's a winning formula for any forward, really, regardless
Yeah.
of how old they are.
I mean, I feel like he's a walking embodiment sometimes of, this is very different from his early days of playing, but he's now a walking embodiment of play smarter, not harder.
Absolutely,
And,
yeah.
and that's
I
not to
mean,
say he doesn't play hard, but like he's definitely
I
more
mean, if you
master
can
of the
do
field.
both, it's even better at the end of the day.
Genuinely, but I mean, and honestly, you could argue he can do both. But
yeah, no, absolutely. I
but
remember,
Messi,
go ahead,
like
go ahead.
he shows he's a master of the field. Like
Hmm.
like he will step in. He knows exactly what the mission is. He will take over, and and I think it's more of like, it's not so much he has to guide that. I mean, this has changed with this World Cup, which is again why I believe we're seeing so much success with Argentina. Is that it's more of the team had to catch up to him more than he had to adjust to his team, because he's always been willing to work with his teams regardless of where he's playing.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
think that about does it for this semifinal, if unless you guys have some other things to add to this.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are like one elephant in the room, I guess I should address.
Okay.
And then okay, let's go with like one and a half. We'll say one and a half.
Okay.
Oh, one and a
Okay.
half elephants.
Okay. So, and
Continue.
this is just some criticisms about the game itself, really, and kind of the
Okay.
situation. So I will say this: Argentina didn't exactly get this win squeaky clean. Like, that's not to say
Okay.
Croatia were saints either, but this was a very high foul, high physicality game. Like, they walked away with 15 fouls on Argentina, 8 for Croatia, and I mean, it's amazing to say that Croatia won every single foul against Argentina, like looking at the stats here. But I mean, and both walked away with only 2 yellow cards, so it's not that bad, really. But still, I
Yeah.
mean, there's still a discussion to be had there of like, Argentina didn't exactly play clean there, and
Well,
but I mean, that's also part of the game. It's just more.
yeah, I was gonna
I
say.
think more of the acknowledgement there is that it just hit double digits, like well into the double digits, instead of just like the usual, like you'll see usually about like 8, 9 to like 12, I would say, but 15. It's just a conversation to be had. I'm not saying like it's like I'm not demonizing them or anything. It's just
Yeah,
that needs to be acknowledged.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely agree with you. Like, I mean, personally, I don't like seeing because I don't personally like seeing tactical fouls where like it's the very intentional foul to prevent counterattacks and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right. Well, I
Um,
mean, look at what
I
happened to
personally,
Messi.
yeah, I mean, no, I mean he's a prime example.
Yeah.
Tactical fouls. Players taking turns to hack at players to make sure
Yeah,
that they don't progress on the ball.
Yeah, I remember during that penalty kick, we were talking like that was a clear stonewall. Like you could, like, a child could tell you that was definitely a
No,
foul.
yeah, no, that was
Huh.
that was not a contentious penalty at all.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, no, that's definitely like a clear example of like, hey, Livakovic recognizes the fact that if Alvarez gets past him, it's a goal. So he takes his chance, committing the foul, hoping maybe the ref doesn't even notice, maybe it won't go to
Right,
VAR.
right, yeah.
But it does go to VAR, and Livakovic backs himself some penalties as we've seen before,
I don't
as
even
we've
think it
seen in the
needed to go to
past.
VAR. Like I think the ref was
No,
just
yeah, I think yeah, no, but I'm saying like
yeah.
Vlahovic in his mind, he's probably thinking to himself, I'm gonna take my chance, and if this becomes a PK, I'm gonna save it. It didn't,
No,
it
no,
didn't pan out for him.
and then that actually segues perfectly into what else I was going to talk about.
Mhm.
And I was listening to some commentators. I was looking at some of the match reviews and stuff. And
Yeah.
one thing that needs to be discussed is I'm very certain Croatia was very tired. Again, not to say that they didn't play good, that they were not like obviously these are players that are kind of used to playing in and out, but at the same time, like they had gone to 2 games with penalties already back to back, and they played the full extra time. They played
Mhm.
penalties, all that stuff. Going from Japan to Brazil to now, going into Argentina, and that's not to say that like that's entirely an excuse. It's just again something to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also think that hurt Croatia because I think they got too used to going to penalties and were no longer looking, for that kill. They weren't looking to that like survivor instinct like we've seen in the past. No, this was now more of a. They made it no longer. It became too much of a. How do I put it? Of a mission to get there instead of
like a byproduct of like
instead of a plan to avoid it or like to win. They've made the plan get to penalties, and it's kind of reflected in their gameplay too. Like if you see early on, they gain control, but they kind of just kill time with the control, and I think that's the habit they got too much into instead of going down the field and attacking. And even when they did start getting the momentum back, it was really a day late and a dollar short because after that second goal in the first half with I believe that was Alvarez's goal. That was the one where he beat 3 guys. All right, you see Croatia trying to respond, but they got 3 minutes and then I think another 2 minutes of stoppage time, and they got their momentum going, but that's not enough time to keep that momentum going. And here comes the end of the first half. All right, there goes your momentum. Now you got to cool off for 15 minutes, even when you got momentum going. And, it's hard to rebuild. Any player will tell you that getting momentum like during that first half and not being able to capitalize on it for the halftime coming in and, killing your momentum, it's so hard to recover from that.
No, yeah, it's demoralizing when you can't make use of your opportunities, and that was really a tale in the other game as well. But we'll get to that. But not taking your chances, I mean, is like the most common symptom of not, progressing in this tournaments. Like you cannot afford a single elimination tournament to not take your chances.
Right.
And I mean, I think a big part of it as well is like Croatia. I mean, they generally were not a very high scoring team in this tournament either way.
No.
I mean, because like once it got to 2-0, I was like, it's gonna be hard because I think Croatia hadn't been in the 2-0 position, being 2-0 down so far, and then once it got there, I was just like, it's gonna be really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Croatia has not been in this situation this tournament at least, and I just didn't see it for them. I think the game really got killed there.
And I think Livakovic is kind of like the best example of it, of almost the desperation, like especially knocking down Alvarez with that stone wall. It almost kind of represented the mentality of them for the rest of the game. Not that they were trying to tactically foul or screw them over so much. It was more the desperation of they didn't know what to do. Like there was the idea to win or at least to survive, but there was no instinct to win at that.
No, I 100% agree. But yeah.
So yeah, in Abby's words, hit him.
Yeah. That's all we gotta say.
Yeah, but I think that about does it for semifinal 1.
Yeah.
Yep. So semifinal 2, we had
France,
go ahead, Zach.
Morocco 2-0, and this is where like I've never loved and hated the World Cup so much at the same time right now.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, could you?
god, these
Yeah, so
scores.
could you expand on that, Zach? What do you mean by that?
So like, I mean, everyone. Let's be honest. So many people wanted it to happen. The Cinderella story of Morocco getting to
Yes,
the finals.
yes,
You
absolutely.
can't tell me there wasn't like outside of France and like maybe some handfuls of Europe and stuff. There was not so many people wanting Morocco to win this game, and it's so unfortunate they didn't. But this score is also not indicative of at all of how they played. Not
No,
at all.
absolutely not. No. So I mean, first off, I mean, let's talk about, credit to France. They absolutely deserve to win. I mean, I don't want to like demean,
Right,
France
right.
at all. Um, but Morocco, they really play their hearts out. So let's look at this. Like in the first 5 minutes, um, Morocco commits a mistake that leads to a goal. They cross the ball in, and Teo finds the end of it. And puts it past Bono, who by the way, I have to as someone who's played goalkeeper, Bono made a cardinal sin there in that play by coming out to try and get to Teo before Teo could get the ball, but then he's just kind of stops. I
Yeah,
don't know if you remember that, Zach. And
yeah,
then he reverts back to like trying to save, try to save the shot, which any
yeah.
goalkeeping coach will tell you is like not something you should do.
No, and
You need you need to commit. Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
yeah, no, and I was gonna follow up on that, like, and I'll get more into this a little bit later, but like, and I hate doing this. I really don't like saying this or doing this because to me,
Hmm.
it's like I don't like pointing out when it's just one. Like this team lost. Here is why, because of this specific person or people. I
Yeah,
don't really like
yeah,
doing that because it's really hard in most games to say this is the person that failed. This is why they failed. And in reality, that's 90% of the time that's not true. But
yeah,
unfortunately, that 10% does exist, and that existed today in my. It
yeah.
was
No,
it was really like you said, Bono on that one. I was like yelling at my team like, why are you not committing to that?
yeah.
I don't know if he got scared, if he panicked or what, but that was the portion I was like, I don't know why that's the where you needed to 100% commit.
Absolutely, because in my book, Bono was having a Golden Glove tournament up to that point, up until this game, and um, that mistake that was definitely a crucial part in that goal because as I was saying, um, you know, when you don't commit, you leave up so many opportunities. Like if you don't close down the space, like if you don't get up in Tails' face, you're opening up so many more opportunities
Yeah,
because at that point you're inviting him to shoot with the goal behind you. Like you need to close down that angle. So I think that was such a crucial mistake from Bono,
yeah,
and it was really unfortunate to see that. But the second goal, I mean, that came at a point in the game where it really felt like Morocco was chasing it. And honestly, I will say at no point during this game that I feel like Morocco was like necessarily out of it until France scored the second goal.
and
Um,
yeah, and that was really late into the game though
yeah, it was
too.
like I think it was like the 78th or something like that minute, or like the
Yeah,
80th. I want to. It was something
no, it
like
was in the
that.
80s. I'm pretty sure it was in the 80s. Like looking at,
80s maybe, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if we want to talk about Morocco, I mean, Morocco were really, really solid this game. I mean, they hardly put a foot wrong, but as you'll
yeah,
say, Zach, I mean, it was just a couple of plays where they just didn't make the most of it because
yeah,
Morocco did such a good job of carrying the ball forward. France, especially in the second half, they sort of resigned themselves a little bit to hitting Morocco on the counter.
yeah.
Which I mean, when you have Mbappe, why would you not bet on
Right,
that? You know what I
right,
mean? Like
right,
when
right,
you have
right.
Mbappe and Dembele, I mean that's a pretty solid plan to have. But
Yeah,
there were so many chances where Morocco got into the ball and they just took too many touches, or they just didn't get a solid touch to pass it back
right,
to their
right.
striker. And I think that's what really hurt them.
Yeah,
I
they
think once, like, it's kind of like with, what was that again? Not that again, but like, they got into the box, but then they didn't know what to do with it. And I mean, that's such a killer for them.
right, and and that's where and something like I don't know if maybe it was the pressure that they that they were the first team that got here, or if they're just not used to being at this point, or because
Yeah.
sometimes people do crack under pressure, and unfortunately, maybe that happened tonight. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, and this is where I really once again I don't like doing this, but I have to call it out because I saw it too often. to ignore it or just be like, you know, it happens, you know, because sometimes plays just happen. It's not in your control.
Right.
But like, and again, I hesitate a lot to do this, but when it happens, I have to call it out. It was for I'm pretty sure Unahi. I think that's
Nahi, okay.
yeah. They were up there in the box all the time. I'll give them that credit.
Yeah.
And that's about where I can stop giving them credit. And on all honesty, because they kept doing it and they kept doing it, and it drove me insane. And this is again a cardinal sin for like strikers. They had their back fully turned to the goal. And you know, and this is when the play is happening when they're like they're not, their body's not turned ready to go. They're like solidly 180 other side, goal is behind them, and they got the ball like 3-4 times, and they were so set up had they been turned and ready to take that shot, but instead they didn't know. They were either playing, you know, trying to move the ball, you know, because they had to turn around, or they were getting, you know, completely shut down because they were turned around. And I'm like, you can't not do this, especially when there were so many good opportunities. There was literally one right in front of the goal, I remember, and they couldn't do anything because their back was to the goal. And I'm like, why is your back to the goal? I understand if your side's to the goal, but your back should never, like your back flat completely to the goal should not be happening.
Yeah. Which is such a shame because I mean you know, Unahi has had a pretty breakout tournament, I'd say. He played pretty well. I mean, despite the missed opportunities that you were talking about, I think Unahi did really well. I definitely expect him to be one of the many players who get a transfer out of their current team due to their performance in this World Cup.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I want to give him. I want to play like a little bit devil's advocate. It might be that that's the way maybe Ruggieri, you know, Morocco's coach, told him to play. Maybe his role maybe wasn't so much to, you know, actually no, but like maybe it's not so much that like he was supposed to, you know, actually get into the box or like, you know, try and score as so much he's like trying to like move the ball around, and you know, create chances for other players. But even then, he didn't really do that. He wasn't really effective going forward. He was good at carrying the ball forward and you know, absorbing pressure.
Yeah.
And you know, moving out of areas of high pressure into low pressure. He was very good at that. And driving Morocco's you know, offense forward. But once it, you know, like you said, once it came to the actual attack, he was pretty ineffective, and that was really disappointing.
And the fact is, I think I'm personally thinking it might be a habit, or you know, or
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if it is a call by the coach, then that's definitely something wrong with the coach there, in my opinion. Like why are you doing this? But the fact of like even on corners, which again, your body, your side to the goal makes sense, but your back like completely flat to the goal makes absolutely no sense, and it never will make sense.
You know, in a corner, like in a corner, definitely not. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
and you know, that was one of the opportunities I feel he wasted, because he had it right there, and you know, his back to the, essentially like back to the goal. And I'm like, if you were a defender, yeah, you're in perfect position, but if you're a striker, it's like I said, it's a cardinal sin at that point. And so like I don't know, like it just, it really did hurt them. And you know, I never like to say, like, I never really like saying, oh, it's because of, you know, X player, or because of X of like, of just like this specific person, because you know, again, it's a team that fails, not just one player. But this is where I would definitely say Bono and Noani were the weakest links today, unfortunately. Not that they're bad overall, just today's performance was not what they've been showing they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned both of those players because, like I was saying earlier, like I'd say they were like two of the standout players from Morocco, and they had off days today, unfortunately, and in the worst moment too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never a good, you know, moment in a tournament like this to have a bad off day, but yeah.
Right. And you know, it exists. It exists, and you know, as we saw, it's kind of the opposite for Argentina. Going back to them real quick, they had their off day, I would say, at the very beginning of the tournament, and they're one of their best days now that they're right about it at the end. And unfortunately for Morocco, it's kind of the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still thinking about that opportunity, like their 93rd minute, I want to say, where I forgot who it was that shot it, but Jules Koundé clears it off the line. I think to myself, man, there's like still 3 minutes left of stoppage time at that point. I'm wondering myself, maybe Morocco could have gotten something going, but it was too late at that point. And once that ball got cleared off the line, I think that was like my cue that like, yeah, I think it's over for Morocco at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
and
still, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, and not to say they, like I said, they were the living embodiment of tenacity. Like looking at the stats, 55 possession on attacking is nothing to sneeze at. And
No.
I'll be honest, France is always like portrayed as this perfect, well-oiled machine. Morocco 100% exposed the flaws and the cracks in France. Like no one can convince me that they didn't today.
No, I mean, I would say France has not been perfect at all. I mean, they were great in the group stage. They were great against Poland, obviously, because I went back to watch the highlights of that match. Against England, they looked very vulnerable. Despite like we were saying this in the last round, I don't want to like harp too much on the previous talking points, but France looked very vulnerable to England, and even though both their biggest opportunities came from penalties, England were creating so many chances. I think it was just a matter.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate they weren't able to get anything through in from open play. But France does not look as solid as people might think
No.
they are. Um, and I think that's gonna have a big part to play in our predictions for the final.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. Genuinely, I think that like France has shown their offense is really well put together, but their defense needs work, and they have not put together their defense great. In my opinion, like again, they're not bad. It's just not the defense where it needs to be, and it's really showing at this point. Because I'll be like I was texting you during the match, and I texted this to Abby too. That first goal, complete luck in my opinion. For France, say what you want about it, say what you want about Bono not committing that leg up, that ballerina kick, as we call it in football, like that is like the 1 in 10,000 chance of it working, and that just happened to be it for this one. But like, all other times you're not gonna get that in.
No, seriously. Also, but I mean, physically, I mean, for Teo to be able to actually pull that off, I mean, that has to be a lot of credit gives to Teo, because like, how many people are basically gonna put their leg up to like where their head is and put it past Bono?
And but
that's
crazy. And that's a massive gamble, and it's a massive gamble. Again, I would say 99.95% of the time it doesn't pay off, but this is that 0.05% that it does, and it is.
Yeah, no, honestly. Yeah. Did you have anything to add to this, Abby?
Honestly, y'all said everything. I
right.
I was just here listening because like I did see the goals and everything, but I mean, all I was like, once that first goal happened, I was really just like, well.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, going back to it, I mean, for Morocco, it really wasn't like that. Morocco did not let their heads drop after the first goal.
No,
oh yeah, no, not at all. My respects to that hardcore.
Yeah, Morocco. I remember distinctly in the first half where Morocco had, and in the second half as well, where Morocco really had France pinned in their own half.
Yeah,
and it's just I'm gonna sound like a broken record. It's such a shame that they weren't able to get anything to fall for them.
No, and it happens. But I mean, what did you think of like how France was playing though, Abby? Because I know you were texting me about the second goal, so I know you were watching some of it. Like, how did they look to you?
Some of it, but I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I was rooting for their downfall, so I was just hoping that they messed up more and more and more. But I mean, at the end of the day, they did do that second goal too, so I was just like, fuck, even if I see that they're fucking up here and there, like they're still able to at least pull through a little bit, which bothers me because I don't want them to win for obvious reasons.
Abby was praying on the downfall, but it did not happen, unfortunately.
Not at all.
It didn't, and a lot of people were. A lot of people definitely were, and but it's definitely shown France is not invincible. They're not indestructible. They very much, I would argue, they were very, like, Morocco did what they did with every other European team they faced. They scared them.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Like, France showed it. Their defense was cracking. It really was.
if anything, they were dominating the defense for a while there. Like you said, in the second half, they
Sorry.
were just.
When you said a Kraken, I'm just like, yeah, it was Kraken lacking. Okay, continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Abby.
Yes, that is all I have to add to this match.
Well, that's all for semifinal 2. I think that's a great cue to go on to our predictions for the final and the third place match. I think we're gonna do the third place match first, right?
Yeah, third place.
Okay. Third place playoff. Okay, so we got Croatia versus Morocco. In other words, the winners of the losers.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
So I'm just gonna say straight off the bat, I want Morocco to win this game.
Agree.
I think it'll be awesome for them to be able to officially say that an African nation was the third best team in the world at this point. I think that'd be fantastic to see.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of agree with what Ivy's typing right now. I don't expect Croatia to do without putting up a fight. I think they're going to be kind of, sort of looking for some sort of redemption, as both of these teams will be doing. They're going to be looking at this match as a chance.
Didn't they both get shut out, actually? Yeah.
Yeah, they both got shut out.
Yeah, they both got shut out. Yeah. So I'm thinking they're both going to look at this as an opportunity to, show off, hey, we might have lost, but we deserve to be where we ended up. And I think that, personally for me, I see Morocco because Morocco go. I don't want to I should have said this during the review of the semifinal, but Morocco did something. They were put in a position that they weren't used to, and they still showed that they had the means of putting up a fight.
Right.
And that really surprised me because obviously they had not but it's a position where they were losing in this whole knockout stage, and they still put up a great fight against France. So I think that it shows that they have the tools to really go forward and create chances for themselves.
Right. So I'm actually going to agree with the Morocco score. I personally think Croatia is going to get shut out.
Really?
I really think Croatia is going to get shut out, and it's really for two reasons. Okay. It's really for two reasons, and
oh my goodness.
0.5. It only half the ball crosses the line, but the
other
half stays
over. I was gonna say, what would half a goal even constitute? I'm trying to think to myself.
I don't know, but we could ask Japan.
Maybe I don't know. Only if you kicking it an empty net or something. I don't know. You have to be
I don't know, but either way, looking at this, I looked at it and really it's reflected in how they both played in these last two. Both came in, surviving. One came in thriving, and then one had the killer instinct still the entire game, and that was Morocco. Yeah. And even with Morocco, I think losing this game, I don't see them going into this, third place match without wanting to take some more, without wanting to draw some blood home. And with how they've played, they kept Spain at 0. They kept Portugal at 0. Croatia, to me, is just another one they can easily keep so well at 0.
Yeah.
And Croatia has shown they don't have that fight anymore. And that's genuinely why. And, Argentina capitalized and reflected it 3-0. Morocco, even though they got shut out, I mean, looking at their attempts here, I'm looking at 13 shots. Overall with 1 on target, but still so much they were going through, and and they got very close with some of those, and again, some of them were just bad plays in my opinion, and it's just if it was, and I already said who it was, who I thought if they hadn't done it this way, there would have been so much more. And the fact that they dominated France's defense, they dominated Portugal's defense, they gave Spain such a hard run for their money on ball control, who was the king of ball control. This, to me, there is no doubt that they will shut out Croatia. They may have lost 2-0 to France, but that, again, not indicative of all how the game went. They were so close, and I could feel it, and they rebuilt their own momentum so quick. And that's something. Their tenacity. Even after that second goal, they still refused to die. They still absolutely refused to die.
All right, yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
So what about you, Abby? Why do you say 2-1?
I just think 2-1 because they're both hungry to get a goal at the end of the day. Because especially after getting shut out, you want to show people that no, we still know what we're doing at least a little bit. So I 100% think that Croatia is going to at least score 1. But I do want Morocco to win, so I did 2-1 because I feel like both of them, they'll be hungry, but that doesn't mean they won't stop defending.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more goals than the 2-1. Like I would be 100% down to see 2-2, 3-2, anything like that.
that would be immensely entertaining. A good appetizer for the final, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is really fucking off topic, but the Sephiroth amiibo just got announced when they will be dropped.
Nice. All right.
113, baby.
Oh, that's pretty close. Wow. Okay, like a month away. All right.
Yep. Okay.
Well,
that was
that
the
does
quick
it.
intermission. Now it's time for the final.
The big final.
Oh my gosh! Like I don't. What do you even say at this point?
Abby is biased. Oh man. Well, I want to see your score first. I want to see what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. What do you think?
Ooh,
3.
Okay. All right.
3,
all right.
2.
3-1. Okay.
You know
honestly,
what? That doesn't seem unrealistic to me.
It's within the realm of possibility for sure.
I don't see that as unrealistic, especially with
how these last games have gone.
Yeah, no. France. I'm sorry to say it. France is not getting shut out. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No. I don't see that happening either. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. It's not impossible, but I don't see that happening realistically.
Yeah. I'm thinking, in my opinion, a 2-1 is more realistic. But I think if Argentina can keep their momentum going, a 3-1 is definitely not impossible. It's actually pretty likely. Because as we touched on, France's defense is pretty shaky, and Argentina, they're playing like world champions right now.
Yeah, and you know they definitely deserve it at this point. I will say, like, Argentina has consistently throughout this World Cup dissected defenses at this point. Like every single match you look up going into this, they dissected the defense and they capitalized exactly where they needed to. And on top of that, their offense has really learned where they need to go, where they need to be. Their defense has also just really been making sure to work on, okay, this is the player that we see that, you know, this team relies on quite a bit. Shut him down. And, you know, but still make sure to cover the other threats that are there. And their defense has been solid. It has not been the best this tournament, but their defense is still very solid. And I think their offense can trust their defense enough to hold everything down while they finish it, while they get those goals. And I agree. I could definitely see this going more of a 2-1. And however, I'm going to say the same thing that we needed to say that I said for England versus France is Argentina versus France, in that Argentina needs to get up like 1-2-0 before the 40-minute mark on France. And if they don't, then it's going to be a much harder battle against France, because France is shown to be all about, you know, play the entire game, play the long game, score along as the game goes along, not just all out attack at the beginning or all out attack at the end, or they're very much a counter. No, they're very much a continue to attack team, but also, you know, play them to wear them down kind of team.
Absolutely. And Zach, you make some great points there, but I think another thing that's going to be crucial to this matchup is how big of a role the individual performances from France are going to be. Because something that I feel like maybe we didn't touch on earlier is the fact that France has relied a lot on, you know, individual performances in key areas of the pitch. For example, like I think I mentioned earlier, Theo Hernandez, he had a great game against Morocco,
right?
And then Yoris was absolutely crucial against Morocco as well. I mean, if it's a lesser quality goalkeeper or an off day for Yoris, we're talking about a different game here.
Right.
Right. So that's going to be another key matchup to consider going into Sunday.
Right. And you know, it really is going to come down to, and like I keep saying this, and I'll keep being a broken record on it, but it's really what this World Cup has come down to. This is just going to be whoever wants it most at the end, because you know, again, France is not this invincible machine and monster that we've put them out to be beforehand. This is definitely like they could easily, you know, get wiped, or they could easily wipe out Argentina. I'm hoping the former, but you know, it really is just a matter of what we think can happen. What about you, Abby? What do you hope to at least see from this game?
Argentina score.
Yes, I think that's nailed on. I think that's nailed on, considering how both teams are playing. Absolutely.
I would definitely say so. I would definitely say that. No. I mean, this would be one hell of a way for Messi to go out on a World Cup, though.
Yeah.
Like just to put that out there. Just to put that.
I mean,
out there.
it's quite literally. I mean, apart from other continental competitions or other domestic competitions, this is like the biggest sized hole in his trophy cabinet. So if he can get this, it's gonna really cement his if you had any doubts, which if you had any, you're bozo, get out of here. No, just stay for the rest of the episode, please. I'm begging you. Anyways,
we need the views.
we need the views. But yeah, if he's able to fill this World Cup hole in his trophy cabinet, it would definitely cement his legacy as one of, if not the best player in history.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a contentious topic that we're not going to be talking about in this episode
that's a
because
whole
it's gone on for too long.
Topic, right? Yeah.
that's
a whole other rabbit hole right there.
Yeah, that is something for an episode. But speaking of which, I think that this is a great place to leave off for today. Do you guys have anything to add before we leave off for today?
I mean,
Argentina doesn't win, I'm gonna jump.
Off of what? Where? How high? Do not, please. No.
I'll just jump off my bed. I don't know.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, no. Argentina just needs to play how they've been playing, like how they played this last game, and just really, if they do that, I genuinely think they'll win.
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with that. But yeah. I think that's a good place to wrap up for today. Thank you guys so much to Zach and Abby for joining me for this episode, and just in general for covering this World Cup. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. I can't wait for us to come back for the final and just discuss exactly what happened in the losers and winners.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. Before we head out, be sure to check out Abby on all social media platforms. She's great. She produces some great content, and she deserves she deserves your interest.
Yeah, I think she has like the triple T's, which is Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok.
Oh my God! We don't have to mention the last one.
Which you may or may not be able to download in the next few months. So,
right, honestly, though. So get that content now while you can.
Absolutely. But thank you all so much for joining us for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you guys join us for the next episode, which will be, who knows, because it's unscheduled. Thank you guys again, and we hope to see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Adios.